that stuff.
We will officially call to order the meeting of the River Ridge Development Authority, March 18th, 2024 at 1:34 p.m. We'll begin with roll call. I'm Treva Hodges, board member.
Ed Margot, board member.
Bill McCauley, board member.
Greg Piper, general counsel.
Brian Lifford, board member.
Ed Fowl, board member.
Michael Caruso, River Ridge.
Renee Kirkland Wyman, River Ridge.
Eric Lauer, River Ridge.
Bill Oka, River Ridge.
Billy Ann Durrett, River Ridge.
Wendy Chester, River Ridge.
Mark Hildebrand, River Ridge.
John Kraft, Mac Construction.
Todd Rush, TDOT Business Development Services.
Kelly Haskell.
Paul Bloom with American Structure Point.
Bobby Campbell, Dakota Jeans Lanes.
Kelly Curry.
Christina Kelty. Caitlin Blessett.
John Croucher.
And Tom Fitzgerald, join us for Thank you. Ms. Hartley Wyman, can you verify that the meeting is properly advertised?
I do verify it was posted on Thursday.
Thank you so much. We've all been provided a copy of our minutes from our February 20th, 2024 regular board meeting. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chair, Madam Chairman.
I have a motion from Mr. Fowl. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Linford. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstained.
Okay, one abstention.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, two abstentions.
Just the three of us.
Just the three of us were here. So, Mr. McCauley and Mr. Meyer abstained. No board comments for me, other than just to say it's a beautiful day in Clark County, so glad to be here. We'll move on with our executive director's reports. I think Ms. Chester was going to provide that since Ms. Racy wasn't able to be here.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Chair and members of the board. Thank you for being here today. A couple of updates from Mr. Acey's report. First of all, Mr. Acey, along with bond counsel and Greg Pfeiffer, attended the county commissioners meeting last Thursday for approval of the 2024 ban and bond. That was done without a lot of fanfare, but lots of questions about what projects are going to be funded. So as the River Ridge Development Authority continues to make investments in the infrastructure here at River Ridge, it is noted and of interest to our elected officials. We've also been working on the financial and planning, working with Stiefel and Associates, and have projecting out how that ban and bond issue will be spent. Water operations are still moving forward. Slightly lower usage of compared year-to-year comparison with 1.4% decrease. The percentage of lost water during the month was 6.1% as compared to 6.3% in February of last year. You will hear resolutions today, and in your packet are several reports, including the one from One Southern Indiana showing the overall activity of interest in the River Ridge development, the River Ridge Commerce Center property. I will do my best to answer any questions for Mr. Acey.
Are there any questions? I think you're good. Thank you. Chief Director, Engineering Operations, Mr. Hildebrand.
Thank you. So, for the month, just going through my report, continuing to work quite a bit on both the current phase of expansion to the water treatment facility and then looking at the next phase or phases of improvements there. Contractors getting a lot of work done. They're in the process now of changing out all the high service pumps that will allow us to pressurize our distribution system from the treatment plant. That's one of the big upsides we have in this, and not only the additional capacity, but a little more flexibility in the way we serve everyone at River Ridge. So that's continuing to move forward. There was a progress meeting held last week, and it actually turned into a coordination meeting because our contractor, and there'll probably be some more discussion of this later with some other reports, but we did a coordination meeting between our contractor on the water main project and the water treatment plant contractor last week, because our guys tying into water pipe that was laid as a part of that project, so we wanted to get them on the same page as we're moving forward with those improvements. And then we're looking at the next, as I said, phase or phases. We think that the best option right now, is to go ahead with another 6 million gallon a day treatment plant like what is down there right now, what's being finished, because it can be done the quickest. But the state has also got a preliminary engineering report they're working on with a consultant, DNR, that is, to look at a larger treatment plant that probably would be, when I say up on top of the hill, but not down by the river there. So we don't have to worry about the river flooding or other things like that. But that could be in the range of 10 to 20 million gallons a day of capacity in that plant as well. So we're working. I did get some requests back from their consultant, so we're gonna have to provide them some information regarding this report, because they're gonna be trying to use that for potential funding for the next phases of improvements. I haven't said a whole lot about it in my reports.
What are the two timelines on those two projects, the smaller 2 to 3 million one and the larger 10 million?
Okay, so the smaller one is actually 6 million gallons a day. So, depending on how it occurs, it probably would be 2 to 3 years, depending on if we were to go through the state and get through this PER process, that's probably gonna be 3 to 4 months, and then start design after it. That's getting us closer to 3 years. I think 2 years, for if River Ridge was, potentially overseeing that project. So we're hopeful that we can have something in place by the end of 2026. That way it's about 2 years. The one that's going on right now should be done within the next couple of months. I think all the materials are in now. That was one thing that I reported, I think the month before last, is that there was an automatic transfer switch for a generator that we were waiting on for 2 years, that came in actually or they found a used one and just went on and bought it and installed it, and transferred over the power. So, it's been a long process. We started talking about this expansion, I believe, in late 2018, just to give you an idea of when. And that just took us from 3 million gallons a day to 6 million gallons a day. So, anyways, haven't said a heck of a lot about it because it was so hush-hush until obviously the end of January, but you've probably seen Meta, their contractor out there working. We have gone through and we have given them approval for their mass grading portion of that project. Eric and I right now are working on the review of their overall site construction plans, just to give you an idea. I haven't even looked at their stormwater technical report, but their plan says 198 pages by itself, and I'm going through it page by page, unfortunately, to try to make sure that they're doing everything according to regulations. So, but a lot of dirt has been moving, and it's going to continue to be moving for the next couple of years on that site. A lot of things that I'm doing is kind of on a daily basis, just to give you all a heads up with so many of these PSAs going on, making sure that we're staying on track with all our obligations as far as providing infrastructure, supporting Josh and what he's doing, looking at the purchase and sale agreements, making sure we're not missing deadlines on anything with that. So that takes up quite a bit of effort, time to do on a daily basis. So be happy, and then of course you see that I have a couple resolutions later that are moving us toward getting some of that infrastructure in place. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that any board members may have.
A long time ago, I must have been 4 or 5 years ago, when they gave a report on those rainy wells. Are they just obsolete now?
They have actually demolished them. I think they may have kept one, but for the most part, they've demolished them, abandoned them in place and demolished them. We talked, I know, years ago, potentially, with our partner, Louisville Water Company, about what might be able to happen with those things. I've been in one. I'm not sure, Mayor, I know you've made some treks out in places before. It was a little scary, honestly. I mean, 1940s structures that were not well maintained. The one that was, I was in the one that was operating until 2011, and there was a lot of electrical equipment that looked like it was from the 1940s with a lot of water, which I didn't feel very comfortable with. So it's probably good. You know, the only thing I can see is maybe the actual well part of it. But I think it was on, you probably would have to do so much refurb to those things, that it's probably just as easy to do something new.
And I guess at one time, ammunition.
There were 7 of them. There were 7 of them.
90 million gallons. a
Yeah,
day.
there was at least 70 million is what we've heard. Each of them about 10 million gallons a day. Yeah.
My understanding was, I think they did an inspection back in the 90s of the collector lines that go out horizontally, and found that if they tried to produce 10 million gallons a day with the existing or even a new pump, that you basically collapse those lines because of how brittle they became over time.
Because of it, they weren't
He
used
gave me
for a
a
lot of
copy
years.
of the tape thing. Tell them about how they operated.
I think the one advantage is the aquifer below there is, it's less than 200 feet, maybe closer to 125, which is really shallow.
Mhm.
So it's easy to get to. In other words, you can put a well in versus trying to rehab these wells. You're better off putting a new well.
I saw a study that was originally done on the West State base, the ammunition plant here, because and the hydrogeologist that did it back in the 40s, I think he said that there wasn't a similar aquifer to this one within either 500 or 1,000 miles of here. So it's a pretty.
The aquifer is the size of the Ohio River.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. And it replenishes itself. What else do you want?
Any other questions for Mr. Hildebrand? Thank you.
These are big caverns
Ms. Tozer, we'll see you again, our Chief Director of Corporate Strategy and External Affairs.
All right, this is much more comfortable for me.
There you
This
go.
report, thank you again. A couple of big picture ideas on what we're doing. Again, we're revising our strategic communications plan, how we're getting information out, and trying to be very diligent on tracking posts to our Facebook page, LinkedIn, as well as any press releases that we are issuing. We are also engaging with other regional economic development organizations and trying to make sure that we are aligned with where they are going. Of course, our friends at One Southern Indiana are close, and we are also looking at South Central Indiana Economic Development Group. As far as external affairs, my role with the Indiana Economic Development Association has very much been tied up through our legislative session, which ended about 10 days ago. Specifically, House Bill 1183 and Senate Bill 256 had some great interest to our economic development friends around the state. Trying to get some external audience presentations to external audiences. I was pleased last week to speak to the Neighborhood Leadership Association of Jeffersonville. They had an association meeting, and folks were very interested in hearing how the activity here at River Ridge is continuing. Also participated with the Southern Indiana Works Board of Directors, a couple of activities. They had a day at the State House and a workforce summit in addition to their regular meetings. As far as what we've tried to accomplish for communications in February, we issued one press release that was on the Summit Construction LDG Development Partnership acquiring 20 acres within River Ridge. We also made 6 posts to our Facebook page, working to track the posts that are made to our LinkedIn page, and we made 2 updates to our website. We have ready drafts of the 2023 Economic Impact Analysis and the 2023 Annual Report, and I should have made copies of those for you today. I will work to get those done before you leave, but they are still drafts. We are trying to do the timing of the printing of those documents along with the upgrades to our website so that everything launches at the same time. And then finally, Ivy Tech has been busy as well. They've developed training proposals to Nipper, Autoneum, Idemitsu, Collins Aerospace, and TI. So John Webb has been out and about and keeping herself in front of the companies here at River Ridge to try to help with any workforce training needs.
On the annual report, are we doing what we've done recently, where we're just presenting printing the card and then having the QR code that goes to the website, so rather than printing the entire report.
Yes, and Renee, has just circulated this morning, the distribution list, who that is generally mailed to, but the goal is to make sure that gets out, the message gets out far and wide, and all the great things happening here at the bridge.
Great. Any other questions from Ms. Joseph? Thank you.
Thank you.
Senior Director of Planning and Operations, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you. I will be brief. Focus on the environmental work we've been focused on here for the last 30 days and looking forward. First project to make mention of is our jurisdictional determination. We're wrapping up on the north end of the site. We've got a pretty, excuse me, we have a meeting with the Corps and also a voting scheduled for March 27th. And that will be an important meeting as they will either verify or request adjustment to the current jurisdictional determination that we have developed. The next thing that we're working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife on is habitat mitigation for impacted areas up on the north end of the property. I'll pass information along to the board as we learn more on that. One other important note, the renewal application was submitted to IDM on February 26th for the landfill permit, so that's been a process. Jumping down to equipment, a couple things coming up. We're looking at the potential purchase of a force mulch spreader, not a force mulcher. I need to clarify that. And also, just this morning, we identified the need for replacement of one of our existing tractors. So, be looking for some potential resolutions to be in that regard here over the next month or so. Jumping over to the next page, 2024 project reviews. We've had a number that have occurred, and we've received some since this report was prepared. 19 C plans were approved, 22 F plans were approved, 19 B plans, development plans were approved, 15 F development plans that are under review, 39A solid development plans were approved. Moving on down to site demolition and abatement, vegetation removal is a key focus of efforts right now for our RDA personnel before the paths begin to fly again. The phase 6 P&E area demolition project, we anticipate this will be completed by the second quarter of 2024. We'll keep you updated on that. We also had the phase 7 demolition project, and I believe Mr. Rao will be presenting a resolution on that today. The bus stop sidewalks, construction is still underway on that. And last thing, we worked out a deal with Orchard's Park on a number of boulders that they were used to their facility. They've all been removed, and I haven't talked to those guys to see how they're being utilized down on their site. But I know they were really happy to get a lot of big rocks. With that, if I take any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Senior Director of Business Development and Real Estate, Mr. State.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Much of my report was discussed during the executive session. We're currently working 43 distinct projects, which were shortlisted on 8 of them. Thus far in 2024, we've responded to 19 now new project inquiries. There's 18 when this report was published. We've had 1 since then. We've hosted 7 site visits. Of those, 3 of them were first-time visits for companies. Coming up here in 2 weeks, in March 26th, we have our second milestone meeting with the Global Location Strategies and OmniTracks on the reverse site visit that we discussed in previous meetings. The phase 1 review was to go over the SWOT analysis, which they have concluded, and now they are moving into their benchmarking study against other sites around the country. So they're going to look at specific sites, specific industrial sites around the country, and they're going to run kind of a sample project scenario and compare how you need to match up against those and where we might be able to improve. We're looking forward to seeing that update. Further down on the travel and conference schedule, the area workshop forum this year is actually this week in Louisville, Kentucky, so we're happy for the team over in Louisville for landing that. that conference. I will be headed out tonight actually for the opening reception, and then spend the first part of the week in and out of that conference. We're excited for that one. Two new ones to the list, the 2024 Indiana Global Summit in May, and then in August, the Transatlantic Business and Investment Conference in Atlanta. So those are two new trips that I wasn't able to make last year that I should be able to get out to this year. So pretty busy travel schedule, at least planned thus far. And that's all I've got right now. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Director of Construction and GIS, Mr. Caruso.
Thank you. We'll move into infrastructure improvement progress. Penny Martin Lane, Phase 1, the transition in the sanitary sewer at Creso to the new lift station was installed over the weekend. The contractor continues to work on storm sewer on Jim Lewis roadway Phase 1. The Penny Martin access road is getting storm sewer trunk line installed and road crossings with curb inlets. That seems to be going along well with regard to what they can do on the weather. Jim Lewis roadway Phase 2, the contractor completed the electrical conduit and is currently working on sanitary sewer there. It's all gravity fed on the north side. The RRCC South Water Main, material is obviously received on site. The contractor's preparing for a bore on International Drive. And there's the road closure planned for March 25th that is expected to last roughly 40 days. Let's see, I attended the Purdue Road School 2024 for continuing education last week, and that was they're doing a lot of neat things up there with regard to pavement. I won't bore you with what that is. And I'm working with Greg and Mark on revising our permitting process and our language within that. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Yeah, not question, but Paul Garrett, they did, I think, a good job of fixing the bad spots in it down through there.
Yes.
Probably not perfect, but it's a good.
We addressed what we could.
So that helps, because there were some bad spots through there.
Well, I think a lot of the heavy traffic, concrete trucks and dump trucks from subdivisions going in down the hill, contributed to the decay of that road.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Other questions? Thank you. Mr. Lauer, our engineering project manager.
Good afternoon. We've been pretty busy on the design side of things. Now that spring is approaching, we're getting into construction season, so busy past month. I'll hit on some of the high notes. For our Patrol Road realignment, that's the section of Patrol Road just past River Ridge Parkway that we are reconfiguring to help make a bigger site there that we can hopefully sell. We've had a few meetings with HWC, the design consultants for that, to pick the best vertical and horizontal alignment, making sure that that route is as best as we can make it fit through there and not affect too many of the adjacent properties. Moving down my list, we have Paul Garrett Phase 4. We had a coordination meeting between River Ridge staff, Australian Associates, who was doing the design work for us, and the design team for Canadian Solar. Coordinating that route and making sure it suits the needs of River Ridge and Canadian Solar. Things are going well with that, and design continues. And then we have Jim Lewis intersection improvements at State Road 62. That's where we're adding a traffic signal right next to DA Inc. We're hoping to wrap up the design of that and get that out to bid next month to hopefully award in May. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Well, I've got one. The traffic signal out there, is that just temporary? I mean, I know it's gonna be there forever, but are they, do they have anything to do with it?
No, the current setup is for the eventual shutdown on a section of 265 that limit. Yeah, so it's, right now the timing's a little goofy to help for that shutdown, but then once that is over, it'll be reconfigured to better suit that intersection.
And South Patrol Road down there, where they're gonna bore under the creek, do you know how far that boring might be?
I don't have that number on me, but I can get that to you.
You want distance?
About how many feet, you know? He might have it on.
90 feet.
90 feet, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Move into our resolutions. Up first, we have Mr. Pfeiffer, presenting the excess property tax determination 2024, resolution 11, 2024, Mr. McCauley.
Yeah, I'm presenting this on behalf of Mr. Acey. This is something that we do annually before July 1 of each year. And it basically tells the auditor and the assessor how to calculate 2025 budgets and the assessed value that would go to that. Since we just, as Chester said, the county has approved the 2024 bonds, which will be issued within the next 60 days. Given that, we have our financial advisor, Mr. Lamb, calculating what our TIF revenues will look like on a going forward basis, and hope to be able to present that to you within the next 60 days. But until that exercise is complete and you can digest that information, it's Mr. Acey's opinion that it wouldn't be prudent to consider releasing assessed value or tax revenues that result from our TIF until we have that information. So for this year anyway, we're recommending that no reduction in assessed value or release of assessed value or reduction in our TIF revenues be put in place.
Mr. McCauley?
Yes. This is resolution number 11-2024, and I will make the motion that there are no excess property tax proceeds payable at this point in time.
We have the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second over Mr. Powell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next up, we have resolution 12-2024. Mr. Hildebrand, I think you are presenting that resolution on track 19C sewer improvements. Mr. Powell.
This is continuing, the project that we have, going on with, getting ready for Canadian Solar and their operations here. Part of our obligation, with them is to provide sewer collection system because of their location and because of the capacity that they're looking for. They're looking to discharge, somewhere in the range of about 2 million gallons a day. We had to come up with an alternate plan from what, we had originally, for that site, if it were planned to be a warehouse distribution. So we are planning to install a rather large lift station that's probably gonna look like the one that's down the hill over here, around the corner on Corporate Drive, and a long run of force main that would come from that. Actually, they would follow International Drive to just outside our window over here. I've met with Lynn Ashak with the city of Jeffersonville, and basically what he would like us to do is to dump it into a gravity sewer manhole that goes down to this lift station. So then this lift station will pump it to the wastewater treatment plant. So we've got we started working a while back with Wessler on this project, and to continue that, we've got a proposal from them to complete the survey work, the design work, and then bidding assistance, permitting assistance, and construction administration. It's all totaled up for a not to exceed amount of $317,000 for all the services. and we're proposing to use TIF funds to pay for this. It is the staff's recommendation to move forward with Wessler on this consultant contract, with request for consideration of resolution number 12-2024.
Mr. Powell?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is resolution number 12-20-24. A resolution approving, the track 19C sewer improvement consultant contract. The board of directors, concurs and moves with the staff recommendation and authorizes the executive director to execute a contract in an amount not to exceed the $317,000, subject to review of general counsel with Wessler Engineering Inc. or consultant services as required for track 19C sewer improvement project. So moved, Madam Chair.
We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll say.
Seconded by Mr. Meyer. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. And I think that you're with us too, Mr. Hildenbrand, for the next one, which is resolution 13-2024, 22F sewer improvements. And Mr. Meyer, I think you have that.
Very similar to the last one, just a much smaller scale. This is actually this one will actually serve track 22F, which we currently have a purchase and sale agreement on, and then the adjacent property. This one again is a little, it's an area of the commerce center that we just didn't have any kind of sewer infrastructure located there, and this one actually falls within the city of Charlestown. So the only way we could really see to make it work relatively cost effectively would be to do a small lift station and a gravity sewer extension on one side, and then some force main on the other side. So this one, Strand Associates did quite a bit of work in that area for us on the Duke Substation Road, so they had a lot of the background information. So we checked with them to see if they would be interested, and they provided us this proposal here. Very similar to the other one. This one does not include survey because Harold Hart had actually been working in that area here recently on doing a lot of survey work, so we just added some scope to this contract he was already working on for us. So this one just includes design for a lump sum amount of $60,000, and then hourly not to exceed amounts of $4,000 for permitting, $5,500 for bidding, and $6,000 for construction administration, for a total not to exceed amount of $75,500. I see a typo right there, an extra zero in there, with no comma or anything, so apologize for that. So the amount of $75,500 would request board consideration for resolution 13-2024.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes, resolution number 13-2024 is a resolution approving the track 22F sewer improvements consultant contract. River Ridge Board of Directors concurs with the staff recommendation, authorizes the River Ridge Executive Director to execute a contract with it not to exceed amount of $75,500, subject to review with Strand and Associates. I'm going to form a motion.
You have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ledford. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can we make sure that we get that corrected before we execute that?
Sure, I'll make a change right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then Mr. Lauer, I believe you are making the staff presentation for resolution 14-2024, which is the award of the PD area phase 7 digital contract. Mr. Ledford, you're on.
I'm gonna start up here just so I can show you where we're at. There's 112 buildings within this area that all contain asbestos or other hazardous materials. We need to remove so that we can develop that land. This is resolution 14-2024, and the project is the P&E area phase 7 demolition contract. The funding source for which for this project will be TIF. We have collected bids. We had 7 contractors submit bids for this work, and they were reviewed by staff, and a bid tabulation is attached to this.
It was staff recommendation that the most responsible, responsive, and cost-effective bid was submitted by Innovative Demolition Services in the amount of $1,252,991. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I would just like to add something very quickly. I didn't talk to Eric about this, but we believe this is probably going to be our last major demolition project, contract, for the rest of the River Ridge site. So this is kind of actually, when you think about it, a pretty big deal. This could be the last one, to get rid of all the rest of the Army structures that are out there. So just wanted to draw attention to that and let the board know.
Is this one that the government would have approved and everything? Any explosives or anything's out of there, like?
Although all the explosives were gone before they transferred the property to us.
And I agree with you there, but they have, it's kind of blessed, and I guess is.
Yeah, I mean, all those buildings have been vetted, and they all underwent the FOS process before it was ever actually transferred over to the River Ridge Development Authority. Subsequently, we also did our own phase 1 environmental assessments and actual building inspections as well to ensure that there were no remaining hazardous materials or explosives located there on site. So they are clear and they are ready for demolition.
Has the asbestos has that already been abated then before they're demolished, or is it part of that?
That's part of this demolition project.
All right, with that, Mr. Lippert,
Make a motion to approve resolution number 14-2024 for the Phase 7 demolition project work recommended by staff to be awarded to Innovative Demolition Service LLC for $1,252,991.
we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McCollum. Any additional questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Ms. Billy Ann Durrett is our controller's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The usual reports are presented for your review. I will bring your attention to one item that we're especially proud of. We have our state board of accounts audit acceptance letter for the audit for the period ending 12/31/23, and they accepted our audit on March the 8th. So that is posted on the state board of accounts website for all to see. The usual reports are presented. This month's claims are $2,724,848.76. $200,000 of that will be from the 2022 ban, $2.1 million of restricted funds, and $411,000 worth of operating funds will be used this month.
Do I have a motion to approve the claims?
I'll make the motion to approve the claims.
Motion, Mr. McCollum, is there a second?
Second.
Oh, it's a race. Mr. McCollum makes the second. Any questions for Mr. Ritt?
I do have one, not a question so much as a comment. I was not here last month, and I guess they gave the audit report, and I guess it's been an excellent report. I want to thank you for hard work and everything, because evidently the state board of accounts accepted it as fast as you could, didn't it?
That's right.
And
It's a team effort.
thank you for working hard on that. Great to have a good audit.
Not a single change they made.
That's correct.
Very good.
Thank you.
Unusual.
Thanks to Joe and the rest of the team.
Good deal. We have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. And on attorney's report, Mr. Piper.
I don't have a written report. I would bring to the board's attention. You're familiar with the Ready 1.0 program that was funded and administered by the IEDC. Both the Jeffersonville wastewater treatment plant and the Charlestown wastewater treatment plant were beneficiaries of about nearly $10 million subrecipient agreements, and then you contributed $12 million each of those projects as well. In the 2024 budget, the legislature at the governor's request included another $500 million, this time of state funds, for a Ready 2.0 program, which is IEDC is presently administering. And the grant awards to the regions will be made on April 11th. The IEDC has established a maximum grant award for each region of up to $75 million. So we'll have a report for you on the at the April meeting as to what our region, may receive, and, the Regional Development Authority will then submit a request for proposals, for those sub-recipients or projects that want to try to access a part of that, of whatever our award is. In addition, Eli Lilly has contributed $250 million as a grant that is targeted $185 million for light remediation across the state and $65 million for arts and cultural projects. And IEDC will be issuing guidance for how you apply for those, but basically those awards we make directly by the IEDC, but our region could be a beneficiary of that as well. So River Ridge was not an applicant in rating 1.0 that benefited from those projects, so we'll keep you up to date as to the progress of those things. We could easily be a beneficiary of the award again.
Thank you. With that said, we usually, before we adjourn, reach out for any comment. Are there any comments from board members at this time? Staff? Members of the gallery?
I'd like to make a comment. You gonna make a comment?
Yes, I wondered if someone could help me, in obtaining, and I'm not sure what it's called, but the Meta and the Canadian Solar purchase and sale agreements, so I can see the details.
The Canadian Solar agreement remains confidential until it closes. It's scheduled to close on April 11th.
Okay.
But the Meta agreement's a public document. I can email that to you if you give me an email address.
Thank you. That's all.
Any other comments from the gallery?
I had a comment. Thank you guys for all being here and being open to the public. I live here in Clark County, Indiana, and I'm a small business owner, and actually I've benefited from what's going on here. I can say that. But discussing with the county road people and the state road people, what are you guys doing to coordinate with infrastructure improvement outside of here with the continued growth of this facility? If you got 19,000 people here today and expected, 60, 70,000 more coming, is there any coordination between the state, the county, the cities and the townships on coordinating infrastructure improvement on the roadways?
We work with NDOT to have the new traffic signals at the intersection of the interstate installed at the beginning of this year. And our engineering staff are presently formulating plans to improve International Drive into a 4-lane road with
That'll help a
curbs and
lot.
sidewalks. Yep.
Now what about 62 or the feeder roads such as Stacy, Bethany?
Those are solely up to
That's what I'm saying.
NDOT.
Are you guys coordinating? Because as my understanding, talking with the county road people, that it's broke down in the interstate system, the state highway, the county roads, and the city and the townships all have their own road building authority or road maintenance authority. Are you guys in any way coordinating with them for the future growth so these people will know what they need to be planning on in the future for the increased amount of traffic? Right now, it's getting overwhelming. In 5 more years, it's going to be way overwhelmed. The planning should be taking place today, not 5 years from now. So are you guys working?
Croucher, I can tell you that the River Ridge Development Authority and the Commerce Center regularly coordinates efforts with everyone. As far as funding those improvements, the funding mechanisms that we have for this agency are held here within the office part, because that's the funding resource we have.
Right.
So the cities receive tax revenue for the roads that are within their jurisdiction that they must supply there, the county and there in the state. Now, one example of those things are that the city of Charlestown held a municipal growth summit last year. Members of our staff attended that summit, and part of the conversation at that summit was to bring everybody on the loop of the growth overall throughout the whole region, and so that they would be prepared internally. Those kinds of conversations are what leads to improvements on things like International Drive, widening that road to create a better thoroughfare through there to encourage traffic to come that direction. River Ridge also has worked to coordinate efforts financially where it directly impacts the office park. So for example, at the old Gate 19, which is Miami Trail now, that intersection was partially funded, or the intersection improvements there are partially funded by this board because it impacts traffic coming directly into the Commerce Center. So yes, there are regular coordination efforts made both in planning and occasionally in funding when it impacts the ability that we have to fund.
So you're saying you guys are working with
Yes.
the cities, the towns, the state, and the interstate highway systems? to
Yes,
make-
we regularly also have meetings whenever any of our, even when our US senators send representatives down to meet, we regularly discuss the impact of what we're doing here and improvements on 62 and other places. So even all the way up to the federal level, we stay in regular communication with those agencies.
Yeah, I understand what you were saying, and like I said in my discussion I had with them, that the funding for the city, the state, and the
Yes.
county all comes from separate sources, and they're each one responsible. I know that Jeffersonville Charlestown Pike project was to the county and the city, and they coordinated on getting the funding.
But even
together
on
at
the
same time.
planning, we
Right.
stay in touch with them on that too, so that they know what to expect.
So is there a comprehensive plan, or there isn't, they're just
The
discussing?
county has a comprehensive plan. Each group tends to do its own comprehensive plan. Again, funding those plans is up to the individual unit of government.
Right.
Now, River Ridge has a strategic plan that we update regularly, and then outside of that, the other agencies have comprehensive plans. I know Charlestown has one, I'm sure Jeffersonville likely does, and I know that the county only recently completed theirs, correct, Mr.
So
Walker?
it's just a
They just
slow process, but
And
it's a slow process, but it's in effect that you guys are, you
Yes.
and the outside resources.
Yes.
Entities are focused on it. All right, it's getting ugly out there every day. Thank you, guys.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
I just have a very quick comment or suggestion.
I'm sorry,
This-
can you restate your name for the?
Oh, yes,
for the minutes?
Caitlin Blessed. I just have a request that, this is the first meeting I've been able to attend. It is in the middle of the day when a lot of people from the public are not able to come. So I would request the same that I'm requesting of other Clark County meetings, is that you all consider streaming these meetings and providing them on your website so that people who are not able to be here in the middle of the day can catch up with what's going on, because people do care and they would like to be involved, but it's a really tough time for people to be able to come.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Other comments? That said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Meyer,
Second.
second by Mr. Lippert. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.